What is up, winning team? Hello. And today I want to give you guys an example of exactly what I'm talking about when I say about how society loves, supports, like the world itself protects predators, okay? And I'm going to use two people who I've paid a lot of attention to over the years in order to do so. Also, this is horrendous. The cutting down of the trees. Are you kidding me? Look at this. I've actually taken videos walking past here before, and I've shown you guys this area and you couldn't have seen that there was a pond in there. This is horror. Anyway, so we won't get distracted by the tree of it all. We'll try. I'm talking about, now run with me. I need you guys to run with me. I'm going to give you all the bits of information you need to know if you don't know the people I'm talking about. Okay? Because this is the type of stuff, I heard something and it was to do with kids and it was to do with them being taken advantage of. That just, when I heard it, my blood was boiling. So anyway, we're talking about Colleen Ballinger and Trisha Paytas, right? So I've said to you guys before, I've been a big fan of Trisha's for probably like my whole entire time I've ever used YouTube, which has been probably like at least 15 years or something, I don't know. But I was one of the very early people who was on YouTube, like watching videos, even before. I remember because I started my first channel when I was 13. So that means that I had to have been on there for at least 15 years, but going on 14 years because I'm going to be 29 this year. But anyway, and I always loved her content. I thought she was relatable, right? And now this is what I want to talk about when it comes to the jury of the sheeple. A lot of people found her controversial. Now, one thing I like about her, and I've always liked about her, is she was very honest in always saying that she just wants to be famous and she's prepared to do whatever it takes to be famous. She's auditioning for everything. She's signing up for everything. And Homegirl really has done like all sorts of random shows, all sorts of random everything. And it's quite funny. She talks about how she used to email letters to all these celebrities, slide into the DMs. And I always loved her authenticity. You know, a lot of people found her to be desperate or cringy, but this is the world we live in. When somebody's just authentic to themselves, and they're not really doing any harm. You might not like what they're doing, but they're not doing any harm. It's crazy how people will come in, because she's always been under scrutiny. And even now, it's controversial for me to say that I like her, especially even now. And it's funny, again, how when she was considered controversial, problematic, etc. in the past, that was okay with people. People didn't like her. Nobody wanted to hear from her. Now, because she's pandered to the public more, and she's all married with kids, and she's settled down, now everybody's meat riding her. Now she's getting on Broadway. Now she's on SNL, all this stuff, which I'm happy for her, because those are things she talked about. Like, for those of us who were watching years ago, like 15 years ago, I remember her sitting on her, kitchen floor is the iconic, crying and stuff. The thing that stuck out to me is that she always had these boundaries, and that's why I could always support her, which were like, she never messed around when it came to things, when it comes to children. So like, when you look at somebody like Trisha, there was a time when she was hanging out with David Dobrik and all his friends. Again, I don't understand. I never understood the appeal of that group ever. So when all the stuff came out about him, he was like, for me, the original Mr. Beast model of just like being the person with all the money who can essentially use it for whatever sadistic things you want to do. Anyway, so I remember, I'll never forget, she got really upset because when they were doing what they were doing, now bearing in mind Trisha, because she had been sleeping around, it was chaotic. She was trying to get really hard to get pregnant. So she would talk about how she would meet as many guys as possible off Tinder, have sex with all of them, because she was desperate to get pregnant. And she just couldn't, and then she found out it was because of complications, because of something she caught, and it was whatever. So that's why it's all a big deal now that she's got 3 kids and whatever. Anyway, even though she would be doing all of that, right, she always had certain boundaries that I respected, and like one of those was that she never got involved with younger people, and she was never going to be involved with things with younger people. And so David Dobrik was the one who had tried to involve her and somebody else to do some kind of sketchy videos, which it was common that he got people to do sketchy stuff, a lot of arguably, allegedly crossing a lot of boundaries with people when it comes to consent and whatever. And when they involved a young person, that's where she drew the line. She was like, no, she's underage. I think it was Tanner as well, which is great because now they have a podcast. It's very sweet. But like, and I remember her video because in her video, and this is why I'm mentioning this, she was distraught about it. Like, of all the things that she's done, all the things she said, you know, she called herself a chicken nugget. She identified as 100% man, 100% woman once. She's done a lot, right? But I always respected her boundaries when it came to children. And this is something that we're going to see. I've noticed in the world, it's something we all want to believe in. They've repaved this whole pathway. I've obviously not walked down here in ages. Okay. Don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, she always, yes, people want to believe we care about protecting kids, but we don't. Like I've said to you guys, because the evidence is right in front of us. Oh my gosh, what is going on with the lighting? It's because I'm walking with the sunshine behind me, you see? Because of the time of day. Look at me, I always look like a baby that just rolled out of bed, out of the womb. So anyway, so she always drew the line at kids, and she really did. Like, she wasn't willing to turn a blind eye for the content. We're going to see Colleen do the furthest extreme of this, right? So I remember that video of her crying and being like, I can't be involved in this because she's just a kid. And like, she was really crying about it. And I thought, wow, that's so nice. Like, that somebody is actually like really sticking up, because of course, when you're a kid, you don't know the difference. You don't know what's right and what's wrong, which is what brings us to Colleen Ballinger. Because meanwhile, Trisha was considered controversial and problematic and off her head. I mean, she got 5150'd. She did a lot of crazy things. But like I said, I will take somebody who does a lot of crazy things all day, who actually protects kids, actually like respects people's consent and everything. Because even for her, she was like, the reason her sexual content, because she has her OnlyFans, I don't think she uses it anymore, but on her OnlyFans, she even says she specifically went about using it that way because she was like, she wanted there to be at least a paywall, so there was not just kids available to have access to her like explicit content, so she doesn't post any type of explicit content outside of that. Again, unlike other creators who very much know what they're doing, you know, she's like, if you're a consenting adult, this is how you can get a hold of this stuff if you want to, which again, I respect. So sorry, just crossing the road, you guys. So I respect that, you know what I mean? Because a lot of other people, they know what they're doing. Like, they know what they're doing, and they know that there's just a lot of kids, again, going back to the David Dobrik's, the Mr. Beast of it all. These people got famous, even the Sidemen, who I like, but again, when they joke about certain things, they're actually just joking. And that's the funny thing. And they're another one. Gets made fun of, ridiculed for making silly videos and be pushing 40 and making dumb videos. But hey, at the end of the day, they're just hanging out. They're just a bunch of mates. They're all having kids and getting married now, which means I know that story is going to end soon, which I'm happy for them. You know what I mean? They're not like, at least not from what I could see, that they can joke about certain things because it's just a joke. Whereas other people put on this facade because of being perfect and prim and proper, because it's a facade and they have to prove themselves in that way. Whereas if you, like, this is what I'm saying, it's about people, there's always two teams to it. If you've got nothing really to hide, then you're more likely to just come across as who you really are, like good and bad and ugly, because there's nothing to hide. I always find that it's the people that are the most overproduced, well-polished, that are usually the most phony, because they're the ones who are the most conscious about making sure that they look the part, right? Because what they are on the inside doesn't match what they are on the outside. So anyway, on the note of kids and influence, right? Now let's go to Colleen Ballinger. So Colleen is mainly known for her character Miranda Sings, which never appealed to me. But hey, girl, get your bag, do your thing. Just because I don't like something that somebody's doing doesn't mean I'm not happy for their success. So never really bothered by that. Here's the thing though. What I didn't know that I found out a couple of days ago, which is why I'm making this video, is that homegirl, right, it's actually not cold today. Because I'm actually not even got my sleeves and my jacket on my arms. And like, why am I still feeling too warm? It's not cold today. I don't even need this fucking jacket. I don't even need a long sleeve. The heck? Anyway, yeah, so Colleen, she's the opposite. She was always celebrated. She had a Netflix show. She's done this, she's done that. She's been wildly famous, wildly loved by a lot of people over the years. And again, I was just like, cool, okay for her. She has this character who's kind of cringe. You know, she does appeal to children, right? Because she has predominantly kids at her shows. Now, I know a lot about that because I watched her whole, like, for when she first got pregnant the first time, and she would share a lot of on her videos about, like, you know, how her working, like, touring around while having kids and what it was like when she started and everything. And so I had a lot of respect for her initially, until obviously we started to find out that she was having lots of inappropriate relationships with her fans. One of them being Adam McIntyre, who I actually like his videos, by the way, who she used to talk to. And again, her and Trisha were supposed to be friends, but she would be sending Trisha's, like, explicit content to the children, right, to kids, laughing about it with them, about what she was doing and all this, while meanwhile pretending to be her friend in person. But this isn't even the worst of it. And this isn't even why I'm making this video, because I've mentioned this before. Here's what I found out. So in her jokes, right, this Miranda Sings character, and she does what I think a lot of people do. Like I said, it's all about playing a character. Have you noticed that this whole topic keeps coming up? It's all about playing a character. And what a lot of people do, right, this is what I believe most creatives do. This is why I find it hard to be creative myself. Because, like, if you're going to make something you yourself are proud of, it has to come from a real place. And I don't want to share what's in my real place with anybody. But also, when I see TV shows, when I listen to music, when I see just the content that people create, whether it's, even if it's things like comedy, art, it always just tells you something about the person, like, I feel like. You know what I mean? I feel like it always tells you, the person, you're always telling on yourself. I don't know, does anybody else agree with that? Please let me know. Like, I feel like you're always telling on yourself, because now we know, like, something had to trigger those thoughts within you. And this is where the situation gets kind of heinous when it comes to Colleen, because what I didn't know was the kinds of jokes she was making in her show. Because in her show, she's been making all these jokes. She's getting all these kids up on stage and making all these sexual jokes. She's joking about, you know, a lot of unconsensual behavior, incestual behavior, etc., etc. But guys, it gets worse, because there was actually a fallout as a result of this. Basically, what was happening... Oh, they drilling over there. Hold on a minute. So after all of this, right, people came forward who were previously kids in the past. Like Adam McIntyre was not one of the ones who suffered from this, but he talks about it because obviously he's got a big platform. So good for him to shout these things out, right? Other people came forward to say that her making these jokes, which, let's not forget, who's taking them to these shows? Their damn parents, right? Their damn parents that are taking them to these shows, allowing these kids to get on stage with this Miranda Sings character. Because of course, if you hide behind a character, then we'll separate the art from the artist. And I hate that. You definitely don't separate the art from the artist. Absolutely not, because the art came from the artist. Hello? Like, why would I, if I don't believe in doing certain things, guys, why would I come in now and go and create something that it goes that's exactly why I left the industry myself. Like, I can't create something, or at least put something out there that doesn't represent my morals and values. There comes a point where it's like you've either allowed them to be changed, you're not serious enough about them, or what you're doing is just a reflection of who you are. You know what I mean? Anyway, kids came forward, or who were previously kids, to say that because she made these jokes, they thought that this type of stuff was okay, so they started to tolerate these things themselves. So they're experiencing all of these weird, non-consensual sexual things, all this incest and all this stuff at home, in places, and they're not thinking anything is wrong with it, because Miranda Sings was making jokes about it on stage. And this is why I think my generation is screwed, by the way, because I feel like there's so many things that have gone wrong, and like so much, you get judged so much for, like we get judged, I'll speak for myself, I get judged so much for a lot of things that I've done, right? as if there was a lot of things that happened in my life that there was not adults who I actually trusted who allowed me to do them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I feel very passionately about this. And also because of working with kids, I know they hang on to every word I say. You know, if I believe in them and they don't believe in themselves, then they start to believe in themselves just because of that. If I say something's acceptable, then they think it's acceptable. You know what I mean? And so the fact that these kids, I can believe it, that because that's why I feel so screwed over in life myself, is like I did what I was supposed to do, which is to trust the advice, I never was lying about what I was doing. I was never sneaking and doing nothing like that. Everything was very much done in 4K. And I'm still screwed now because it's like, oh, well, why would you do that? Why did you do this? And it's like, mate, trust me. If I knew I had to live the life I'm living now and the consequences, best believe I never would have. But I just didn't know any better. And that's what's sad about it for me. And it's sad because she's the protected one. She's the one who's getting who's been having the Netflix shows and touring around and getting rich and being accepted and being this character. Her. And then the likes of Trisha, because she sits on the ground and calls herself a chicken nugget one day, and then the next day she's trans, and then the next day she's something else. Everybody's all up in arms saying, oh, she needs help. But we've got a grown woman who's literally talking to children at night, right? With their parents, again, who bought their phones, pay for their data, pay for their Wi-Fi, don't even know that this is who their kids are talking to, right? Doing all of this stuff, having kids coming up on stage, doing inappropriate stuff with them all hidden behind a character. All the adults around are just sitting there. Like, I was actually destined to find myself in this predicament I find myself in, of just being everybody's number one enemy. Because everybody just wants to sweep things under the carpet when it comes to kids, because it's easy. As an adult, I can defend myself. Like, that's the only reason I have a voice now. So I had to get old enough to have a voice. And I remember being 13 and thinking to myself, you know, I wonder how old I'll have to be. Like, at what point in my life do I get to have a voice? I remember specifically thinking that, you know, and that's why I set myself the goal as a kid, right, as a teenager. Now I'm going to outdo everybody. I'm going to outdo I'm going to achieve things before the time I should be able to achieve them, just as a slap in the face to say that the older generations didn't do good enough. Because if I can do it, that proves it's doable. That means you can't make the excuse because I've done it. And that's exactly what I've been doing. I even forgot that I was doing that. But it's because of stuff like this, you know. When this is why people take advantage of kids. And this is why I'm saying society is backwards. The jury of the sheeple, whose back have they had throughout the years? Flipping on Miranda sings. Who's taking their kids there? I saw today the Cat's Eye did an advert to Spice Girls song, and I found that so ironic that a group of girls who were no worries, were selected when they were very young. Like I said, the youngest Yoonchae was 14. They've got about 15, 20 adults standing in the studio. Like, I recommend you guys go and watch their documentary on Netflix because it's creepy, right? They're all standing there making them do all these sexual dances and whatnot, what have you. For what reason, I don't know, because nowadays you just can't be talented as a woman. As a young woman, you have to be derogatory, right? And honestly, I wouldn't even mind it if I actually genuinely felt like this is what people wanted to do. But it's like people walk into the industry looking like, you know, just nice, young, talented people, like a Tate McRae, and then they come out like a freaking sex symbol, which I have such a problem with. But anyways, Cat's Eye was dancing to Spice Girls, who again, why are they so popular? Again, parents were taking all their kids to these Spice Girls concerts. Their fans were like children again. Mr. Beast, who were his fans? Children. Like, a lot of the people who are famous, they got so famous because children will just go with anything. So this is why these people have these platforms, because it's kids. It's kids who are listening to them who don't know any better. And as somebody who's, you know, post-prefrontal lobe finally forming, or prefrontal cortex, I feel like this is why I'm so depressed about being alive. Because I feel like I'm just waiting for the plane crash to hit, especially because social media is so new. So like all of this stuff, even though it's existed in previous generations, it's like the impact is going to be even heavier, right? And we're all just here, like, not thinking twice about any of this stuff. Like, and that's the crazy part. And like I said, Colleen Ballinger's the one who's in the firing line. Colleen Ballinger's not the one in the firing line. She's about to go back on tour now. She did a fake apology. She said that people misunderstood what she said, or all of this stuff, when she was on Raven Simone and her wife's podcast, which again, Raven Simone, love her. Love her, was part of my childhood. Again, another reason why I hate being part of my generation, because all these child stars we watched all went through hell. And you can see that she's been through hell and she's trying to pretend as if she hasn't and as if she's okay. And she's clearly actually not okay. But again, because the standard of being okay in the world is so low, I think most people just turn a blind eye. But I know a trauma response when I see one. That's why I'm not out here calling myself any titles of anything. I don't need any label to have an identity in, right? As if I have to start doing that, maybe I just need to address what's really going on. No surprise. She goes on there. Of course she would be able to, because in order for Raven to be able to actually address, the bad behaviors of someone like Colleen properly, she would have to address her own issues. This is what I'm saying. This is why I think this whole society is just very, 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 very boring to exist in. People are predictable. People protect predators. We want to have every single critique in the world for certain people. Like I said, Trisha Paytas has always had so much critique from folks, and it's only the rest of us who are broken, damaged goods who always supported her, because we kind of understood where she was coming from, Other people were just judging from their high horse of self-righteousness. Those same people are the same ones taking their kids to see Colleen Ballinger. Those same people are taking their kids, like paying for their kids and to just be left unsupervised on the internet. Those same people are unaware that, their kids not just on Roblox talking to other kids, because of course, if there's a place where there's kids, that is the best place for a predator to go. And then people like me get looked like the villain, as if I'm trying to say that parenting is the easiest job in the world, which I'm not saying that. I'm saying that us as a whole village need to wake up. And if somebody in the village is telling you that something isn't good, then maybe you should listen. You know what I mean? But we don't do that, do we? Unfortunately, no, we don't. We just say, oh, this is the best we can do. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But then don't complain when you have to live with the consequences, because that's exactly what was happening to all of us as we speak in the world right now. And that's why I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of everyone. I'm sick of hearing from everybody about all of this stuff. And then there was Trisha Paytas there crying about an underage girl. Like, nobody seemed to care. And I remember her crying. The way she was crying is like the way I feel on the inside, where she's just like looking around and she's just like, how is like nobody else like this upset about this? Like, that was like the kind of look on her face. Like, how is nobody else like this distraught about what's happening? Like, how is nobody else this bothered? It's like she couldn't understand. And nobody was that bothered. And I know that's because it's normal. I know that this is all the older generations they all dealt with, and they all just didn't have rights and didn't have whatever. So they're just too bitter. Like, I'm not that kind of bitter, guys. I don't, the whole reason I do all this stuff on my channel, I make all these videos, I tell you guys about everything. Like, I'm trying to prevent as many people, forget just my own children. I'm trying to prevent as many people having to suffer the way I've suffered in this life. So I just don't get this whole thing of like, oh, well, we didn't have all of this and we turned out fine. Oh, your generation is just soft. It's like, yeah, your generation is just hard in pride. And your generation is just kept passing on all these demons, turning a blind eye, not knowing what you're doing, not using your brains, right? Engaging with this stuff. Like, if you're so tough, why can't you be tough with what your kids are accessing online? If you're so tough and you're so strong and you're so better than all of us, right? How comes you can't be the disciplinaries that you're supposed to be? How comes you're like, oh, but all their friends have a phone, all their friends have internet, so the heck what? I grew up in the time when your parents used to say, if your friend jumps off a cliff, are you jumping off a cliff as well? Now I would because now I have reasons to jump off a cliff because of living in this dumb society. But you know what I'm saying? That's so, and again, I'm old enough to remember when parents actually parented. I'm old enough to remember a time, with stuff like that. But like I said, that wasn't even my point of the video, but I'm glad I mentioned it. Look, Colleen Ballinger just gets away with everything, and Trisha Paytas is under scrutiny. One of them has built their entire career off of a character that they hide behind. A character, right? that is highly inappropriate and suggesting illegal things, but it's just art, right? Okay. The other one is just being chaotic and clearly going through a lot of things and living wild life. But hey, who would I rather consume or support? The person who is just all over the place, that lives a bit of a wild life, very emotional, but also very honest. Because to this day, and that's another thing, this is what I'm saying, the losing team and the winning team is only two sides. Because to this day, Trisha is always, because no one ever lets her forget about her past. That's another thing that people are so good at doing. No one ever lets her forget about her past. So she's consistently re-apologizing and re-apologizing. And I think to myself a lot, I'm like, you know what, girlfriend? People need to give you a break. Like, you've actually... Okay, we'll take this. Are we going to take this? Maybe not. You've actually done a lot of work, but she has to keep apologizing, right? And here we have flipping... Yeah, we'll take this one. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, I just wanted to move this out of your way. Thank you. And then what is Colleen doing? Taking no accountability ever for nothing. And she's all going back on tour as miraculous things. That for me just tells me, I'm like, God, get me out of here, get me out of here. Because if this is truly the world I live in, like, truly, I don't want to have to be here. Like, I don't want to, because this is just ridiculous. It really is. And again, like I said, she's just getting away with it. You know why? Because her audience are kids, and the kids are still going to be there left unsupervised on the internet. Or with the weird parents who probably like that she makes those jokes. Because I never thought about it until I thought about it. But like, you know what? If you were the kind of person who wanted to get away with doing those things, surely you would love somebody that makes your kids or whoever think that it's acceptable. Because that's basically what we see in all of this religious stuff, right? It's like the same thing with the stuff in Mormonism that I talked about, how, you know, they think that, oh, because you're considered sinless until you're 8. This is why a lot of kids are molested before they're 8, because the people believe that it's all going to be wiped away. So the adults feel like they can get away with it because it's all going to be wiped away. And the kids, who at the very least, whether it's good or bad, know that they're considered sinless anyway. So whatever happened to them isn't bad. It's just disgusting. Like, it really is. And again, these are the things that are popular. These are the things that are famous. These are the people that were big platforms. These are the people accepted by the jury of the sheeple. This is the world we live in. This is the world we created. And this is how the world functions. This is how it functions. This isn't just a weird little side. Ooh, so it's just so-and-so. Oh, it's just all this still. No. It's across the board. It's everywhere. It's everyone. And like, we who are not into these things, we're like the minority. Those of us who actually are prepared to do the work. This is what I'm learning. Actually prepared to do the work and not make the excuse. We're in the minority. And can I tell you guys something? Is my final thoughts on all of this. Don't bother going out trying to... Who makes this cereal? This is giving influencer. This is going to be an influencer cereal. Jim. Is it Gymshark? I can't tell. Are they just sponsoring? Yes, I think it's by Gymshark. Interesting. See how the Sidemen are trendsetters? So funny. They are trendsetters, and that's the other funny thing. As much hate as they get, that's what I'm saying. The world is full of haters. Losers always haters, because they'll copy you. I noticed somebody doing this in my life, right? I've always noticed that throughout my life. People will copy you without giving you the credit, and then still like be the ones judging you. Meanwhile, they're doing something that they saw you do first. Like the Sidemen, so many of the popular video ideas that are out there, one of the 7 Sidemen started doing long before anybody respected anybody. And again, look at them now, right? People judge people like the Sidemen and like whatever, and they're always under scrutiny or whatever. But look at KSI and all the money that he has and all his riches. You know what he's doing at the moment on his channel? He's doing this Try Not to Laugh series where he gets like people to come in and try and make him and his friends laugh. And if you manage to make them laugh, he's giving anybody that makes them laugh 1,000 Great British pounds. 1,000 pounds. He's just giving out money to his supporters. He gives out money every month to his supporters anyway. Like, he doesn't have to be doing that. Other people, they get rich and famous, they become tone deaf, they use it as an excuse. And then again, it will be him under scrutiny. Like, don't get me wrong, he's done things I don't agree with, but hey, that's called relationships. We're all going to do things we all don't necessarily agree with or like. It is what it is, right? He's out here actually like giving away money. So meanwhile, again, people are having him under scrutiny. He's all like keeping his relationship private because he doesn't want his girlfriend to have to deal with everything and whatever. And he's just making these videos. Him and the Sidemen are doing like sleepover videos, last to fall asleep. What did they do this weekend? They did Monopoly, Sidemen YouTuber Monopoly, which was a sick 2-hour video this last Sunday. They're the ones under scrutiny. They're the ones like, oh, these are men pushing 40. How can they be doing this? I'm like, I'd rather listen to them than go and be listening and supporting some of these flipping leaders of the world who are secretly doing degenerate things behind the scenes, but whilst making it look good, playing into a character. Just miss me with that. Miss me. And he's actually giving money back. Rather than some of these leaders that people go and trust thinking in pride, like, oh, well, I haven't got time for that. I'm a woman of God. I'm a man of God. And I listen to this pastor and that pastor. Meanwhile, that pastor's draining your bank account. And KSI is the one putting money in people's bank accounts. So I'm like, we need to wake up. We need to wake up. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go because I need to finish getting what I'm getting and skedaddle. But yeah, I just had to give you guys that. Because you see, winners and losers. Again, Colleen, no accountability. Trisha, consistent accountability. Colleen, favored by the people. Trisha, hated by the people. And she has a cult following because we all know that we're all the damaged goods together and we like to congregate. It's like something Tan always used to say on the Council podcast. She's like, if you watch this podcast, it's because you're like, I can't remember the term she used. Something's wrong with you in the same way that something's wrong with us. And I was like, yeah, you're so real for that. And again, a lot of prideful people can never take accountability for everything. Nothing can be wrong with them. It's like I was saying about the 10 kinds of people we're leaving in 2025. The people that whatever happens, they are never the problem. They are never to blame for nothing. They can't be. They physically can't. And I see it now when you're like talking to people and they're like wrestling within themselves because they cannot for anything, because it's impossible in their head they've done anything wrong. And this is why I even mentioned about Colleen, because a lot of people are like, well, you think you can explain to these kinds of people and they're going to listen. And it's like, what you people don't seem to understand, and I've learned this the hard way again, is there's nothing to explain because people have chosen which side they want to sit on. Like, there's nothing to explain here. And there's no amount of you talking to them that's going to put sense into their brain, because when people have decided what side they want to sit on, they've decided to be there. That's why I don't waste my breath. Like the Bible says, don't cast your pearls upon swine. So I don't waste my breath trying to convince a lot of people of a lot of things, because I'm like, I just look at them and I'm like, I can just see, cool, you have chosen this is the side you want to sit on. So there's nothing I can do unless you change your mind. And that's how God is going to hold people accountable as well on Judgment Day, because he's going to say, well, just the same way that other people had a choice, other people walked away, other people stopped what they were doing, other people regrouped, other people changed, other people apologized. You made the choice not to do those things. So now you'll pay the consequences for your choices. Don't be mad at me. You did what you wanted to do. You had the same opportunities as others did, and you did the same. And that's why I don't buy into all this nonsense, fake forgiveness talk in the body of Christ that I hear about, oh, forgiveness is like you just have to accept everybody into your life. It's like, no, because if they've chosen that they choose the life of chaos, and I'm not trying to walk chaotically, we're never going to be able to walk together, because the Bible says, how could two walk together unless they're in agreement? So it's not going to work. Somebody's going to have to cave to one side, and it's sure not going to be them, and it's sure not going to be me. So we're just going to clash. It's just going to be a waste of everybody's time. And if I've tried and you've shown you're staying on that path, then go off on that path, baby. I ain't trying to stop you like I was. But just know the consequences of your actions and understand you're of the world. Because like I said, the world, the jury of the sheeple, always favors the evil. And on that note, life's a game that's played to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.